You're making content with the purpose of attracting more clients, making more money, and growing your business. Stop. You're going about this the completely wrong way. Watch this video. I'm about to condense 3 years of knowledge into 20 minutes so you have the best possible chance in 2026 at attracting the most amount of clients and growing the best brand you possibly can grow. Because there's a wrong way to grow your brand and there's a completely right way to grow your brand. And this is the same sauce I've used with 6, 7, and even 8-figure entrepreneurs to give them the direction to grow their brand in a completely intentional way that is making them a fuck ton of money. So this has generated my clients collectively over $10 million. So this is exactly what you need, especially if you're one of the smaller guys. Let's say you're making 5, 10, 20, 30K a month right now. This is going to be the fucking difference between you ending up like fucking, you know, Iman Gadzhi or something, or Alex Hormozi, versus just somebody who's kind of having a brand but nobody really knows. Especially if you're around the 5, 10, 20, 30K a month mark right now, this will be fucking massive for you. You've probably been told to give value, give everything away for free, but they didn't tell you there's different ways of giving value. And without this knowledge, you will grow a brand that will just dilute your authority and make you a commodity and just like everybody else. But the stuff I'm about to tell you can literally spiral you to the top 1%. And when you use this shit, years down the line, you'll be fucking thankful. You'll think back to this video and go like, that fucking changed my life. If you want my help scaling your brand or high ticket offer, there's a link in the description to book a call. It's a free consultation. This is not just a sales call. We'll actually consult you on the one biggest problem in your business right now. So kind of see it even as almost a free coaching call. From what you tell us, we'll tell you exactly what the biggest problem is right now for you and exactly how to fix it. And then you decide if you want or help fixing it for you or with you with an investment to it, or you take the knowledge and you do it yourself. The first thing you need to know is unintentional brands will die. Let me show you the inevitable story and timeline of 95% or even 99% of people who's building a brand right now and what their future is going to be without knowing this, right? They make content with the hope of getting clients. The easiest way their mind will go about it is go, okay, I'm going to copy this guy in the space, whoever that is. Can be anybody that you're looking up to. Then they make content similar to that guy. Then usually it doesn't really work, or it just works a little bit, but not enough to gain momentum. So no momentum is the real outcome. They don't really get clients. They don't really get the results, and especially not the results in comparison to the person they're modeling. Because they get no momentum, they start to doubt. Now, the most important thing in business is speed. Every billionaire says this. Speed, speed, speed. But again, they hide the real secret from you. Speed is not actually a thing you get. Speed is a byproduct. It's a byproduct of conviction. Conviction is the total 100% belief in the direction that you're going. That is what conviction is. Doubt is the antithesis, the natural opposite of conviction. Imagine the most powerful being in the universe. Let's say God. What makes God powerful is that the gap between thought and action is zero. He thinks something and it instantly manifests into reality. That is basically the ultimate speed. Take the complete opposite, the weakest being in the universe. That would mean the inverse. The gap between thought and action is infinite, meaning he never takes action. That comes from doubt. Doubt makes you uncertain about what to do, and then you don't take action. So you don't get results, so you create weakness. In other words, the game of business is determined by the person who demonstrates the most conviction. And doubt is the natural enemy that slows you down, makes you question your direction, and then impacts your mental state. And then you take less action. The action that you do make has less energy behind it, less conviction, so you'll carry it out weaker. And so your results go down. When you make content from a state of doubt, your results go down. This impacts the content you make. It becomes worse. You start looking more at competitors, compare yourself even more. Then your brain starts to ask, what am I missing? And then it starts to fill in that question. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe it's my face. Maybe it's my voice. Maybe it's my offer. And it starts to doubt everything about your identity, who you are, and your business. Now you have even more doubt, which impacts your actions even more, meaning you'll become even slower, less action. The action that you take is worse and worse results. And this becomes a vicious cycle until you eventually quit and you go, maybe this is not for me. This whole cycle can repeat itself for 2 years straight, even 5 years. Now take the monkey and the master. One makes content thinking, I'm not sure if this will work, but I hope so. The other one knows because I use these specific principles, I know my content will convert and I know my brand will grow in authority over time. Which one will end up a millionaire faster? Well, of course, the master. That's only natural. A lot of you think this shit is forever. You're on this journey right now. But I can promise you, even you, if you're making, let's say 10, 20K a month, there's no guarantee that 1 year from now, you're gonna be at 200 or 300. A little bit of this can happen, and in a year from now, you've quit your business and you don't even know how the fuck it happened because you were pretty sure that you were doing really good right now. I'm making 20K a month now. This shit is forever. You're making 20K a month now. You have a little bit of ego. You feel good about yourself. I promise you, a couple cycles of this, a couple failed videos that don't really convert, no momentum. You see your competitors winning harder. Ultimately, they scale 10x while you didn't scale at all. Your business goes down. Before you know it, you're like, I think this is not the right business model. And now you're all the way back to going, okay, maybe I should fucking start an AI OFM, or maybe I should start an AI web design agency. And before you know it, you're commenting on lead magnets on Instagram for the Claude bot and the Claude automation to set up the Mac Mini and bullshit. Anyways, we're gonna prevent this whole cycle. We're gonna make sure that this does not happen to you. You are gonna take action on the stuff I'm about to tell you, and you're gonna create an intentional brand that will get rid of this whole cycle, because the universe is a mirror. So there's also the opposite. You make intentional content with conviction. You're not copying, you're not looking at other people. You are extremely clear in your identity. This is the cycle I'm gonna let you step into, which is exactly the reverse. Because of the stuff I'm about to explain to you, we'll have extreme clarity about how to build your brand and content in a way that converts. This will give you 100% conviction, which means you know exactly what direction you're going into. That will make sure you'll make intentional content because you know the right principles. Over time, you will start to make more and more money. Because of that, your confidence grows, so you get more conviction. Now you reinvest this money into better content, better business, and just anything that helps you grow. And as a result, you spiral upwards and your business becomes a fucking exponential curve. Of course, you can speed all of this up by working with me. Now, all of this sauce, you can watch this video completely for free, but that's the spiral that you'll go into because of this. Now, the monkey way of giving content. Give value goes how? Now, how-to content bores everyone to death. The moment I go, okay, so here's 16 steps on how to set up your Go High Level account. You'll go, oh, okay, save that for later, bookmark, and then you click away. Pay attention to the next couple pieces of content you will watch in the next coming days after this video. You will notice and ask and be conscious of the point where you click off or you scroll away. You've been told the lie of giving value and giving away everything for free. But you've also seen the people who don't really give any value, but somehow they're signing hundreds of thousands of dollars in clients. So now your mind is caught up in how do I do it? Because on the one hand, I want to give everything away for free, but it makes it weird because usually people then go, okay, I have everything, I don't need you anymore. But on the other hand, I also feel a bit salesy if I don't give any value. So now you're in this weird in-between. We're gonna fix that. You've been looking at giving value all wrong. See, the monkey thinks giving value as lecturing people and explaining things. That's what you think about when you hear value. You go, oh, so I should give all the how-to, the step-by-step. But the problem with this kind of content is it's extremely low dopamine, which means people are gonna click off your video because it's extremely rational. It doesn't activate the emotional part of your brain when I say, so step one in setting up your Go High Level is go to create free account. You just go, ah. The platform incentive is extremely important. When you give the platform what they want, they'll give you what you want. So most people, they're optimizing for views and likes. And this can be good unless you're getting views to the wrong thing. So if you're getting millions of views, but none of your content is optimized for conversion, people will now start to put you in the category of commodity. And this is the big problem with unintentional brands. It's that you think, okay, you know, at some point I'll figure out how to do it and then I'll do it. But the problem is people already start to categorize you the moment they start to see you on their feed. So the moment they see you, a first impression creates the biggest imprint on somebody's memory. To switch that is super difficult. So if people see you and go, oh, this is boring, the next time they see your face, they'll go, okay, this is that boring guy, and they won't click. Then the platform registers that and goes, okay, there's no incentive to push people to this guy. So we're not gonna put more engagement, so we're not gonna give him more attention. It's a very simple value exchange. The platform has the audience, which is the attention. You are the creator. Now you might think that the algorithm is some kind of weird code that's sitting there going, okay, this content is good. That's not how it works. The platform only cares about ad dollars. YouTube, Instagram, they care about advertisers spending money on their platform, which means they have to keep people on the platform. That's their only goal. They do not give a fuck about if you explained from step A to Z how to set up a funnel. They just care, did people watch your video, yes or no? But you want to convert clients. So now now you are struggling with two things. First of all, have to keep people watching. I don't care how much you are like, yeah, but I just feel like I just want to be myself and I just want to talk the way I talk. That is fine if you want to stay stuck near the bottom. I promise you, there's a way to be yourself, but with these principles in a way that actually makes money. Please don't fall for the trap of, I just want to be myself, and when I'm just myself and I'm just talking, I should be able to convert. That is the mindset of a spoiled little kid, right? AKA a monkey. So staying with the platform incentive, making sure the platform gets money by keeping people with your content on the platform while also converting your audience into buyers, we need to spike their dopamine. This is the only way that your content is going to convert. They need to have an aha moment. When people don't experience any kind of aha moments, they will click off. The aha moment, the epiphany, comes before the step-by-step. So this is problem, turning point, lesson. I show you what the problem is, then I show you the turning point, so the exact thing that solved the problem, and then I give you the lesson. There's a way to do all of that. I'll show you. First, who stays when you make extremely mechanical how-to content, which feels like a school lecture? The people who want to implement everything but pay nothing. So in his mind, he goes, the person who's actually engaged is in a low dopamine state and is in his rational brain and goes, ooh, free value. I can take this, implement it, and then I don't have to pay anything. I'm so smart. That viewer is basically taking advantage of you in his mind. He's not really, because you already know, like if he would actually sign up with you like people do with me, he'd get way faster results. But he's kind of a dummy, but he thinks he's being smart. The problem then is that people click off, you get no momentum like we explained here before, and ultimately your business dies. So we have to prevent all of that. The hierarchy is then you see people make content, you copy them, but the problem with this is not only the comparison trap, which makes you feel hesitant and doubtful because you're not getting the same results as them, there's actually something more detrimental. Because you're copying another person, people will look at you and they won't go, oh, you're so great at copying this person. They'll go, hey, this person who got copied must be really valuable. Let me show you a simple example. You know Drake, one of the biggest artists in the world. Now let's say you also know Bruno Mars, most likely. Let's say Bruno Mars, when he was younger, went, okay, you know what? I'm gonna make songs like Drake. At a point, people would go, this guy kind of sounds like Drake. And then it would give Drake more authority and it would make Bruno Mars just look like a fan, which would then, do people look at fans as the top 1%? No, they go, okay, so you belong somewhere here. Doesn't mean he can't make money. It just means it's not the ultimate authority that he can be, because people ultimately still rather buy from this guy than this guy. So people will still buy from all the people down here. Don't worry, right? You can still make money. You don't have to be Alex Ramosi right now. But you have to understand what I'm about to tell you. The number one thing that your content has to revolve around is meaning and outcome. The why is what drives everything. Most of you, you're making content that tells people how to do something before they care about doing it. And thinking, yeah, but they already have the problem. They told me if I just talk about the problem that they have and I give them the solution, that should be it. No. Because why isn't only the problem, why is also, why should I listen to you specifically? Why should I use your method specifically? Why are you credible to talk about this in the first place? This is where the 3P method comes into place. Proof, plan, promise. I show you what I did. 6, 7, and even 8-figure entrepreneurs hire me to help them implement all of this shit. Plan. I'm gonna show you exactly in this video how to create a brand that's intentional and make you millions of dollars rather than just falling into the trap of a broken brand and business a couple of years from now that doesn't make any money and hates himself. I'll also show you how to be the top 1% and not be a copy that people look at as a little silly monkey, but you will actually be a master. Plan. That is enough to hook people. This is what I'm getting from watching this. Now they're open to know, okay, how? Before that, you didn't care if I would just start saying, okay, so you need meaning and outcome. You go, what the fuck do I need meaning and outcome for? You wouldn't give a fuck. You give a fuck because I told you why it matters. I showed you the stakes of not understanding this shit. And I'm genuine. When you don't have conviction in your words, your content will not convert. When you don't have conviction, when you don't believe what you say, your content won't convert. Belief comes from evidence. I know this shit. I've learned this over years. That's why I told you I'm gonna show you this in 20 minutes. I wish I had known this earlier. Principles are more important than tactics because tactics go out of trend. Humans evolved to only care about long-term value and what increases the tribe. The emotional brain is super good at figuring this out. It doesn't give a fuck about your step-by-step guide because 10 years from now, the step-by-step guide that you created might be completely irrelevant. But principles and why, meanings, and outcomes are timeless. Businesses will always want more clients. You always want more attention. Getting attention is a 6-figure skill set. Keeping attention is a 7-figure skill set. And creating a worldview that people live inside is a 9 to 10 figure skill set. The direct clarity that you need comes from the principles, not the tactics, and establishing your identity. You have the potential to be like an Alex Hormozi or an Iman Gadzhi. But a lot of you're playing as if you're the guy on the come up who's looking up. You gotta look at them. You gotta go, there's nothing special about you. I respect the business you built. I respect the brand you built, but you're the same. As long as you look up to people, you go, I'm below you, which means your identity, right, will behave in a way that's on the lower levels because your ego wants to stay congruent with its beliefs. As soon as you go, you're not special at the top 1%, you're just a human that knows a couple things that I don't know, that's when your mind opens up to actually, I can be this fucking guy. Let me ask you this question right now. If you could be the guy that the thought leaders, right, the people you might look up to, how would that feel? How would you be different? Would you talk different? Would you behave different? Would you walk differently through the world? If you knew I'm that guy, it's not fucking Iman, it's not Alex, it's not Andrew, it's not Donald Trump. I'm the guy. I'm the reference frame. People look at me to know what's good, what's not good. Should I do this? Should I not do that? Is this the right relationship? Is this the right business? They ask me. I don't ask them, they ask me. Imagine how that would feel. Imagine if you are that person, the intentional creator, not the person who's trying to copy and trying to get to the top. No, the person who knows I'm the top, I let the world catch up. I'm already speaking here. I'm not speaking here trying to get here. I'm speaking here. So I'm speaking down. Most of you're trying to speak at or upwards. That will not convert. You need to speak down. And I don't mean in a degrading way. This is not some fucking BDSM shit, right? You are speaking from the throne, from the stage, not at the stage. Big difference. So credibility, 3P method, PTL, right? Problem, turning point, lesson. Offer is the logical next step. So after seeing your stuff, most of you confuse giving value with giving away what's already in your offer. But the offer should be the logical next step to your content. Bro, you're gonna make so much money. When you leverage this becomes your cornerstone of your brand. Intention, clarity. There's one thing that I skipped over. Without a brand, in the next coming years, your business will be non-existent. It will not exist. The time where you could have a business without the social media, without a personal brand is done. That was good up until 2023. 2023 was kind of the Wild West, right? You can watch my first video on this channel in 2023, right? That was kind of the Wild West. You could still do a bunch of bullshit and relatively get away with it, sign some clients. No. That's not 2026. 2026 is a different game, right? In 2023, it was just about who can get attention. In 2025, it was about who gets trust. In 2026, it's gonna be a combination of trust plus differentiation. People now care about the specific identity, the specific standards and values, right? So identity is gonna become the cornerstone in the next few years. And the identity is actually what creates the positioning. A lot of you are like, okay, what should I position myself as? What's the right positioning? Positioning is not something you create. It's like speed. It's a byproduct. When your identity is extremely clear, which means you know who you are, you know why you're here, you know what you're here to do, and you know who you serve, your positioning is just a natural byproduct of that. Very simple example. If you genuinely know, like, I'm the guy who helps people with fishing and I love fishing, what becomes your positioning? Fishing expert. Really simple. You don't even have to think about that for a second. That's why I said the most powerful being is the being who has zero gap between thought and action, right? I asked the thought and the result was instant. What positioning? Fishing expert. Yeah, makes sense. If I want to help people, right? And if I want to do surgery on people, what should my positioning be? Well, maybe a surgeon, right? It's not difficult when you know what you're here to do, but you probably don't really know why you're here, who you're serving, and that makes everything difficult. And let me show you one thing that's extremely important, because a lot of you are like, okay, but how do I pick? How do I know why I'm here, what I'm here to do for who? The choosing itself is more important than the choice. This will blow your minds. But it makes all the sense with what I told you earlier. The one who chooses wins, not the one who makes the best choice. Let's say there's 5 different business models and there's one person. That person goes, I need to pick the right business model. He has a 1 out of 5 chance that he picks the right one in his mind. So that means a 4 out of 5 chance at failure. If your brain thinks, well, there's an 80% chance, right? 4 out of 5. That I'm gonna pick wrong. Will that make you confident? No, it will make you extremely afraid. So will you pick? Yes or no? No, you won't pick because you're scared. Then what happens? What was the cycle I told you about earlier? You're afraid. You don't take action. You sit there thinking instead of taking action. Nothing gets built. When nothing gets built, there's no money. Let's say he picked one of them, and let's say it wasn't the best choice, but it's a choice. Then he spent a year pursuing that specific thing. He would start to learn. He would start to get wisdom, get skills, get experience. And at some point, he would know enough and he'd start making his first 5K a month. That would give him confidence and evidence. Now he would be like, okay, this actually works. Then he watched this video and he starts making content as well. Boom, he elevates to, let's say, 30K a month. Now he's like, oh, I got more resources. I can invest in an editor. I can get a script writer. I can get copy, all of this shit. He starts to build momentum. Remember the guy who was trying to pick, who was afraid. He's still looking at videos, trying to figure out what the best business model is. Chooses over choice. You've all heard the saying, if you're sitting on the fence, right, you don't know what you want. And you're like, should I go here or should I go there? You should go somewhere. That's the fucking point. Just pick one. Just fucking go here. And the fact that you're here, now you're able to build a fucking house. And now you're like, I have a house. Anyways. Identity, natural positioning, clearly the expert in your field. Top 1% behavior, top 1% outcomes. Very simple. What does the 1% do? Well, sometimes that's hard to figure out, right? Because you don't have access to these people most of the time. But there's a beautiful lesson that one of my best mentors told me. He said, you don't need to know what the 1% does. You need to know what the 99% does and then just do the complete reverse. 99% builds an unintentional brand. What does that mean? Reverse it. I need to have an intentional brand. 99% talks about how, not why. Meaning, what do I need to do? Why? Content. 99% has an unclear identity and no conviction in themselves. What do I need to do? Have clear identity, have conviction in myself. 99% doubts themselves and doesn't choose out of fear. What do I need to do? Trust in myself, have conviction, and choose. Life could be so simple if you just reversed all the retardedness. Practical stuff. Vague CTA, monkey. Okay, so if you feel like, there could be anything of value here, you could, check me out on social media. And then if you have any questions, just shoot me a DM. What is that? If you want to build an intentional brand that can get you 7 and 8 figures, book a call right now. I'm going to show you the exact roadmap. We're going to establish your identity. We're going to have an extremely clear step-by-step on how to speak exactly in your content to create the influence, to create the impact, to establish yourself as the 1%. And we're going to make sure you don't do any of this bullshit that dilutes your brand. So book a call right now. Clear, right? Or in my description is a quiz that shows you exactly what you're doing wrong with your content and will show you a direct action plan to create your next video in an intentional way. So click that link, clear CTA, right? You know exactly what you're gonna get. So a call to action always needs a clear outcome. Don't give people vague direction because that signals doubt. If you have vague CTAs, the audience perceives doubt. The emotional brain is more important than the rational brain. The emotional brain is measuring energy. It's measuring belief. It's not measuring how logical your words are. It's just going, does this person believe in themselves? Are they speaking the truth? Because that's important for the emotional brain to establish survival. Okay. And now we get to the fun and beautiful part. Because I promised you I was going to tell you how you can just be yourself and still make a lot of money. Well, see, the thing that's going to set you free is understanding why content is more valuable. Imagine you have a kid and that kid is about to stick his hand in fire. Imagine you can't touch him, right? You can't take his hand, but you can't tell him something. What are you going to say? Are you going to tell him, well, fire is this chemical reaction that produces this orange color? Or are you going to tell him, if you put your hand there, it's going to burn you. We're going to have to the hospital. You'll be in a lot of pain and you might lose your hand forever. Which one has more value to the kid in that situation? The second one. And that's what your content should do. Your content needs to give people direction and conviction so they can go ahead. Because when they have that, the how naturally evolves itself. Because guess what? People are not that dumb. You have to stop underestimating people. When people know the direction, they'll figure it out. The smart guy knows that money can get him there faster, right? Speed is everything. And what you're paying for when you're paying, let's say, for guidance, right, is the conviction part. Most people, they kind of know what to do. That's why most people have this illusion of, I think I can do it by myself. The problem is not that people can't do it by themselves. It's the problem that they don't have the conviction about what they're doing. So everything that they're doing, they will doubt. And because they doubt, remember, their actions become shit and then their results suck. That's the reason that you're not able to create the content and build this specific brand brand that we're talking about. Because you don't have conviction that you can talk in the why and that you can have a clear identity. You're extremely hesitant and you're still on the fence. So that's why nothing is really working. And that's why you can keep doing that for a couple years until you eventually go, I don't think this is for me. You doubt yourself, you think you're not good enough. All the while, the whole problem was just the way that you were approaching this whole problem in the first place. If you paid attention and you took notes, you're gonna have a blast in the next few years, fucking seeing your brand take off and making a fuck ton of money. If you want my help and you wanna do it faster and you wanna increase the speed of that arrow, see it, then book a call in the description, because remember, this guy is already here at this point when this guy is still here. And that's how you win. How are you gonna win? Right now, there's somebody with the exact same skills, talents, exact same resources as you, exact same intelligence. One of you is gonna actually invest in himself and not just spend his money on lifestyle, and he's gonna take this path. One of you is gonna go, I'm gonna figure this out myself. I'm smart enough. My ego is all the way up here, even though my business is down here. And he's gonna take that path, right? Or maybe this one, or maybe this one. We don't know. Anyways, I hope you had a wonderful time watching. See you in the next video. As you know, sunsets are business, and this is not AI. No, I wanted to say sunsets are business and nighttime is philosophy, manifestation, psychology, neuroscience, everything that will help you become a better operator, right? The goal of these videos is to make your business easy. So these videos in the sunset, they give you business principles. They help you make more money through the business lens. The nighttime videos or the daytime videos without sunset are more on the side of mindset, identity, who you are, getting that clarity in the first place, being yourself, removing all the limiting beliefs, removing all the bullshit that makes you feel not good enough, and making sure you're an absolute killer here as well as in the external reality. All right, as always, I love you so much. Thank you for watching.